Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Actors Brand. My name is Helen Asante. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do. Click, like, and subscribe, and go and watch some of our previous episodes so you can catch up with all the juicy topics that we've been delving into. Today, I have a very personal topic that is dear to me because as a producer to be someday and as an actor today is of concern. Why Africa struggles with film production. Yeah, Africa struggles with film production. You would think Africa being the second largest continent in the world. There are about 7 continents in this world. Per my research, 7 continents. Africa is the second largest continent in the world with over 54 or about 54 countries. Why are we struggling in our sector of film production? Let's talk about that. All right, so 54 countries in Africa. The continent of Africa. Now, Africa is a continent with 54 countries or over 54 countries, comprising of 5 regions. These regions have its own population, massive population. From my research, as of July 1st, 2021, 1.373 billion population, Africa, the continent Africa, 1.373 billion population. Imagine that. So Africa is huge. So some African countries, they're, through music, they're very popular. Nigeria, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Liberia. When it comes to soccer, you talk Liberia, you talk Congo, Cameroon, Ethiopia is there. Like, these are all African countries within the continent of Africa. Now, when it comes to film production, 2 countries within the continent of Africa stands out. South Africa and Nigeria. Yeah. Ghana it's not even there yet. Now, Nigeria is the second largest film making in Africa, making South Africa the first. And with the population we have in the continent of Africa, only 2 nations are taking the forefront in filmmaking or film production. What about the rest of Africa? Now, Nigeria makes 1.2 billion annual revenue in film production annually, producing over about 2,500 movies a year. South Africa, so now that we know that Africa is a continent and not a single nation, and we know the population it holds. Now look at this. About 30% of all global minerals reserve are found in Africa. 30% of the world global mineral reserve found in Africa. Another thing, the world relies on Africa for mineral resources. So if we're about 54 countries in the continent of Africa, and the world relies on Africa for mineral reserves, we should be rich. Africa is rich. Our film industry should not be struggling. Now, another thing I discovered in my research, South Africa, holds the largest reserve in minerals in Africa. And South Africa has been doing so well with film production. I remember back in 1999 or so, the movie Serafina, amazing production. That movie helped me know about South Africa. At that age, I didn't even think or I knew much about how many continents or nations or countries there was in Africa. But I'll come to that, hold on. Another shocking thing I discovered. Congo, BBC, October 9th, 2013. Uranium used to construct the atomic bomb was sourced from Congo. The uranium used to construct the atomic bomb was sourced from Congo. But guess what? Congo is one of the poorest countries in Africa. What is our problem? Now, 54 countries in the continent. 2 nations can be the only ones making headway in film production. Don't get me started on our resources that Africa holds with our population put together. So here is the challenges I feel, or I got it. It's the problem. Language barrier, government support, which is government fund or investment, investors, education and training, and diplomacy or immigration issues, which is limited access to travel within the African countries as an African. That is a challenge. That is a problem. Now we're going to look at these challenges. We're going to talk about these challenges in depth. All right. We're going to look at them. You're going to look at them. And let me not forget internet connectivity. Oh my God. You buy a bundle for a month and it's a week. Maybe sometimes 2 days. A week you're lucky. And it's a month bundle. A monthly bundle. Yeah, it lasts a week or 2 days. Internet connectivity is a problem, because if you don't have stable internet connectivity, you're not even able to render your film, your footages. You're not able to load your footages as well. So let's look at these problems. Let's look at these challenges. Why Africa struggles with film production. Let's take a look at these challenges one after the other. And maybe, who knows, we might come up with a solution, because Africa must rise. Africa must do well. And our sector, the filmmaking sector, or the film production sector, deserves an attention. Take government funding or investment and government support challenge. I don't know if the government of Africa or the governments of Africa, I don't know if they think that film production does not contribute to the revenue source of a nation or the economy. Then you're wrong, because filmmaking or film production is a revenue, generates revenue for the economy, contributes to the growth of economy of a nation. Ask me why. Now, when I watched Sarafina, way back 1998, 99, 97, I think, I discovered South Africa. And I wanted to visit South Africa. Now, that is a tourism revenue, right? That's a tourist attraction right there. Through film, through movie. I wanted to visit that place. I wanted to see where they filmed the movie Sarafina. That's tourism right there. So if government is not supporting the film industry, we are not getting the investors. And some investors out there also do not see filmmaking as a business to venture into. But it is a business you can invest in and make your revenue back, or make a revenue back, or get your funds back. Filmmaking is a business. Requires or need the support of investors and need the support of government as well, because film also exposes a nation. It exposes a country, the culture, the music, the lifestyle, cultural lifestyle, the religion. So when people watch it, they want to come. When they watch a movie, they look at the locations and all of that. They want to come visit the nation, and that is a revenue. Tourist revenue generating system for a nation, or contributing to the economy of a nation. So government support is a problem. The lack of government support, let me just put it this way. The lack of government support is what we are facing, or the industry, the film industry is facing. 1.373 billion population, only 2 nations are doing well in film production. Out of 54, only 2 nations. With all the resources we generate for the world, come on, we should wake up. Africa, we need to wake up. Our government needs to look into our sector. Now, let me go to education and training. Another area that government can also support. Now, there are talents out there in Africa, a lot of talents that want to become a camera person but cannot afford camera school. Government fund, government support. If there is a funding sector for this type of education or training, one can go to school to study cameraman or camerawoman or study camera, come out, work, and pay off the funds or pay off the fees support, or what is it called again? Fee funding. If we educate more of these talents, right, there'll be more, more demand for that, there'll be more demand for, I'm so passionate, I'm forgetting my words today. There'll be more demand for their craft, education and training. And oftentimes, because there's no funding support, some of these people need to learn hands-on. They need to be on sets, and then they'll have to, find a way to learn how to operate camera by hook or crook. And in a month or two, they carry cameras and they call themselves cameramen or camerawomen. It doesn't have to be that way. With this, our movies, our productions is not getting anywhere. We need to wake up from that. Now, language barrier. I'm sure there are over thousands or more languages in Africa. 54 countries, over thousands languages. Language should not be a barrier for us to, interwork with each other. If I am a Ghanaian, I should be able to go and film in South Africa. Even if I don't speak the Afrikaans language or Swahili or whatever language, I should be able to work in South Africa. Why? Language should not be a barrier for us. With technology today, it shouldn't be a problem. But it's one of the challenges. If an African producer produces a movie in French, I think it's going to be hard for Hollywood to get into it because of the language. They don't speak French. Some people don't speak French and don't understand it, so the market is not going to go in for it. That should not be a problem. Caption, subtitling, you can do that in English. But then again, if Africa, we are not interworking with ourselves, why would Hollywood accept us? Why would Hollywood embrace us? They will not embrace us. Now, moving on to another challenge that I feel is a huge problem. It's not immigration, right? Or diplomacy issues, like having to move around Africa. Like within West Africa, when you're part of the ECOWAS state, which is West Africa, you can travel within the West African states without a visa. Now, 2 years ago, I heard South Africa has given West Africa, Ghana, a visa-free entry or visa on arrival entry. But before, I don't know if it's been rolled out, but before, if you're a Ghanaian and you're traveling to South Africa, not South of Africa, but South Africa, you need a visa. Now, this is a barrier. This is a problem because it makes it hard for any filmmaker want to travel to South Africa because they look at all the time involved to get the visas processed for all the crew members, the cast, the directors, and all of that, the documentations and all of those processes. They will not want to go to South Africa. And maybe the production or the script requires that you should use a location in South Africa or a certain location in South Africa would make it work. But due to this immigration situation, they will not go. No producer would want to go through that stress. So they'll cut corners and manage to film in Nigeria or in Ghana or their home country. Again, where would that production go? Limiting content. This affects it. This is limiting the content because you're not able to freely move around. It's a major problem. So Africa needs to wake up. If we need to thrive in this film production, we We need to be able to work amongst ourselves as Africans. We need to be able to interrelate, interconnect. This is the only way other continents or other nations will embrace us. In my own opinion, really, in my little opinion, this is what I feel. And another thing that I also feel that is also a problem is a freedom of movement that was the word I was looking for. Freedom of movement, not diplomacy or immigration. Freedom of movement. Freedom of movement, but freedom of speech. Freedom of movement is what I've talked about with having to travel here, requirement of visas, visa requirements, documentations, and all of those things is a constraint for any producer to want to go through that to produce anything anywhere else out of their home country, right? Now, freedom of speech. Some producers tend to be harassed by the government when they expose certain things going on in the country. When it's been exposed in a movie, the producer becomes a target. Now the movie becomes, they target the producer, they target the movie. And they will use their political power or their government power to make sure that that project does not come out, or you do not make sales, or whatever it is. Now, if you do that, we are not telling the story as we're supposed to be telling. Things have happened in Africa. We need to tell these stories. Whether we like it or not, they have happened. And telling them the story for generations to come, to see and learn history, why should that be a problem? Why should that be a challenge? Why should that be a challenge? If we don't tell these stories, if we don't act and portray in these history, how are the younger or the generations to come going to learn? What are they going to discover? I got to know about apartheid in South Africa through Sarafina movie. I got to know about Nelson Mandela through the Sarafina movie. This is history. So Africa, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. Talking about the struggles, the challenges that film productions go through, or why Africa struggles with film production. These are the challenges. These are the challenges. Freedom of movement, freedom of speech, lack of investment, government support, education, training, language barrier. We need to find solutions to these problems. We need to find solutions to these challenges so that our industry can grow. Our industry can get the necessary support that it needs. We have such beautiful stories to tell in Africa, such beautiful locations to even utilize them. But you have Hollywood flying down to Africa to utilize our own locations that we are not using. If we're not filming in the bedroom, we are filming in the kitchen. We're not filming in the kitchen, we are filming in a restaurant. We have locations. But I don't blame these type of productions, because if they want to use a location, now they have to go through a whole process. Government is going to stress them, and then they need, one person is going to call you, give me this money, pay me this, pay me that. This is why we need the government support. This sector is a big revenue for any nation or any continent. Why do you think Hollywood, let's take Bollywood, formerly known as Mumbai, right? Or Bombay, sorry. Bombay and now Mumbai. 1930s. Bollywood started in 1930s. And Bollywood is still Bollywood today. And has contributed greatly to the revenue source for that economy, for the Mumbai economy, or the Indian economy. People know about India today because of Bollywood. People know about South Africa because of film, Sarafina, Chotsi, and all of these great productions they've done. People know about Nigeria because of Nollywood. Gollywood, we are still struggling. Without these government supports, we cannot do much. So government needs to support our sector. Entertainment in general. Nigeria is booming because of music and film, contributing greatly to the economy. Other African countries can follow suit. It cannot be just 2 African countries making waves in film production. Out of 54, it cannot be just 2. Now, this is the finding that UNESCO said something. UNESCO spotlight growth potential of Africa's film industry, and this was published in 2022, April 2022. Africa film industry trends, challenges, and opportunities for growth contains strategic recommendations to help the sector achieve its estimated potential to create over 20 million jobs and contribute $20 billion to the continent's combined GDP. Imagine that. Here, this was in 2022 and updated 2023. This was just like last year, right? 20 billion sector can achieve its estimated potential. Africa's film industry has the potential to grow and contribute over 20 billion to the continent's combined GDP. Imagine that. Imagine that. Go on to UNESCO.org, you would find this detail. I mean, we don't need UNESCO to tell us the potential we have. We should be able to see it. But if you need UNESCO to convince you, then this is it. This is it. Yeah, piracy is a problem that I let's not forget to talk about piracy. I totally agree. Piracy is estimated to waylay from 50 to over 75% of the film and audiovisual industry's revenue. Very true. Very, very true. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. The report argues that this potential remains largely untapped despite the significant growth in production across the continent, with Nigeria, for example, producing some 2,500 films a year. Look at this. 2,500 films a year. And when you take Nigeria, as I said, South Africa is number 1. South Africa is number 1. In South Africa, film is getting far. It's what can I say? South African making waves. They are making waves. The quality is there. South Africa may have some funding from government. They have their policies. They have their setup in place because they started not today. South African film production has been there way back, as well as Nigeria, as well as Ghana. We have the potential to grow. We have the potential to thrive. So if we need UNESCO to tell us this, to convince us, then here it is. We should be convinced. Enter it. Investors out there, this should convince you. $20 billion. $20 billion to the continent's combined GDP. This is growth. This is growth. If it's a sector attention to, it's growth. Okay, with that being said or discovered, African film production will take a rise, but we need the support of government to make the African film production or the film sector take a rise or take its place in the tourism sector, because it is a source of tourism attraction. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I have been very passionate about this topic because if the sector grows, my account will be growing as well, because I'll be getting jobs every day. I wouldn't have to travel out of my home country just to, chase my career and become great. If my continent or my country is booming in film production, what am I doing abroad? What am I doing abroad? I'll be working every single day. I'll be, doing all the good international projects out there. The good, not international project, good quality projects. Yes, international, because if it goes out of Ghana to South Africa, it is international. If it goes out of Nigeria to Zimbabwe, it is international. Within ourselves, we are international. So yeah, quality productions that, speaks within Africa, because money is in Africa. Africa is sitting on money that gives us no excuse to develop. Yeah, Africa is sitting on money that gives us no excuse to be a developed continent or individual developed nations. So let's think about it. Let's make a difference. Let's change something. Government, please give us the support that we need. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please share it. Let's spread the news. Let's rise. Let's grow, because there are talents in Africa and we need to grow. We need to all grow together. So thank you so much. Subscribe, like, and share, and send in your comments. We'll be happy to hear from you. All right. Bye.